Hello and welcome to the Mindset and Mindfulness Podcast with me, your host, Sandy Powell.
Welcome to today's episode. Today's guest is Brenna Dragos. She's a mindset and business coach for heart-led creatives. She helps her client find freedom in their lives and thoughts through radical honesty and self-expression. I love that. Welcome, Brenna. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Sandy, for having me on the podcast. I am so excited to be here.
Yay. Yeah, I can't wait to dive right in.
Let's do it. I'm in. Let's do it.
Let's give us a brief introduction of, who you are, who is Brenna, what's like a bit of a highlight reel.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hi, everyone. So my name is Brenna, and as Sandy said, I'm a mindset and business coach, and I love to add a creative flair to everything that I do because I find that so often there's so much like logical and practical perspective that goes into the business related stuff, but that stifles all room for creativity. So I really love to help my clients bring that creativity back in. And as you know, Sandy, like there's so much mindset work that is involved in taking big leaps in our life, which is what I'm all about, whether that be with business, with our career, in relationships, in a creative venture. It doesn't matter, but there's so much mindset that's involved to build a strong foundation that we want to jump off of to have that big leap in our life. And that's what I love to help my clients do. And I've also had my fair share of big risk, big leap moments in my life that I'm so excited to share on the podcast today.
Yes, please do so. So how did it all get started? How did you find yourself as a coach?
Okay. I found myself as a mindset and business coach a couple of years ago, but it all started with my journey as a fitness coach. I was coaching classes at Orange Theory Fitness, which is a group fitness studio, a corporate group fitness studio since 2018. And in 2020, I got the phone call, like many others that year, that I was being laid off. And this was in February of 2020. And I vividly remember I had just gone out to see my boyfriend at the time, my now husband, Jason. I just gone out to see him in California, and we were flying back. And we were in the airport when I got the phone call saying that I was being laid off for an indefinite period of time. And this was one of those phone calls that you get and you think it's never going to happen to you. You think you see it happening around you, but you never really consider it to be a possibility because you've had job security. I've always had job security, but I'm in this airport bawling my eyes out on the phone with my boss. And I hang up the phone and I tell Jason what had just happened. And he grabs my shoulders and he looks at me and he said, "This is the best thing that could have ever happened to you. And we're going to make sure of that." And it was so wild because in that moment, have you ever had that feeling in your stomach where something is so true, but your head is like, WTF is going on? How could this possibly be the case?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I know. So it was one of those
response, I feel like.
Yeah, it was one of those pivotal moments in my life where I felt that contrast, of the oh shit moment. And then in your head, it's like, well, how? But that's the first time that I really felt this knowing of something more is on the way. And I don't know what it is yet, but it's there. After that moment at the airport, we spent the next couple weeks figuring out what we wanted to do because, I had personal training experience and I had group coaching experience. So I thought, you know what? What if we create an outdoor group fitness experience? And I call up two of the members from Orange Theory and I was like, "Hey, this just happened. Your gym is no longer open. I no longer have a job. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to figure it out." To wrap up that part of the story, I ended up reaching out to every single person that I knew that had taken a fitness class with me and corralled them all together to do outdoor workouts in the park because that's all you could do at that point. And at this point, I was playing music from my iPhone. I didn't even have a big speaker yet. And within the first year, we were able to grow that company. It was called 6 Foot Fit. So it was fitness 6 feet apart, when that was the whole thing. We were able to grow that company faster than I could have predicted. And we ended up doing the 6 Foot Fit for 3.5 years. And in those 3.5 years, I learned so much about the mindset that it takes to grow a business, the mindset that it takes to have sustainable growth in a business, lots of mistakes, learned how to learned how to grow a community. And honestly, Sandy, I really learned who I was and who I wasn't. There were so many transformations that I've experienced in those 3.5 years. And one of them being my passion in mindset coaching. Now, in 2022, I didn't really know what that meant. This is when I was very much in the phase of like new age manifestation. I had all my crystals out, which is great. We all go through the crystal buying phase. I was writing down, I'm manifesting X amount of dollars a month and I would write that down 55 times on a piece of paper. I had them on my wall. Like it was this whole thing. Please tell me that you've also done this too.
Like, I don't know. Should I like jump in here? Like, oh my God. Have you seen myself or what?
So funny. And I remember I got this download in a meditation in December of 2022 or 2021. And it was, Brenna, it's time for you to start sharing your gifts. And I'm like, yo, universe, why are you being so vague? Like, I don't know what you're talking about. But that January, I ended up hosting my first mindset workshop. It was just like, like a New Year's mindset manifestation workshop. I ended up hosting those over the next 1.5 years. And in this process, I discovered that I wanted to help people and impact people at a level far deeper than just their physical body. Mm-hmm. However, not everyone in my fitness community was ready or open to that kind of conversation, let's say. So for about 1 year, I had 2 passions that were starting to change in size. The fitness company, that was like my baby, and my new baby, which was mindset coaching. And I felt the scales start to turn around the beginning of last year. So the beginning of 2023. And that feeling of one thing starting to rise above the other was exciting, but it was also really scary. Because it's like the thing that supported you for so long, there's now something else coming into the picture. It's like, how do I balance both of these two things? I ended up launching the online portion of my mindset coaching company last April. So I started posting content like the beginning of the year. I was such a newbie at all of it, and I was just putting in the messy reps in. Like, let me just say, I had no idea what I was doing January of last year. I was just posting any kind of personal development content that I could, because I knew that's what felt aligned, right? I'm sure I always talk about like messy action creates clarity. And I'm sure in your journey of starting the podcast and everything that you've built, you've also had to take a lot of messy action to figure things out.
Exactly. Because at the beginning, you just don't know. You just have to go and do something, and either it is the right thing or not, but at least you cross some things off the list, and you narrow it down to where you need to go, where it needs to be. You feel the response coming or you don't, and you're like, okay, I have to change something. Something is missing. Something's not working right. And yes, there's also things you have to do. You have to put yourself out there. You have to, take chances. You have to build the confidence and things like that. You gotta, I don't know, get the editing skills, there's so many things you have to figure out. So yes,
it's excellent. Like you learn these tools along the way and you course correct along the way. Like I can't tell you how many times like I felt like I was getting caught up at the start line. And I was like, I just have to go. I just have to go and figure it out along the way. So anyway, that's what I was doing all last year. And when I launched the mindset coaching part, there were some people in my fitness company that were, let's just say, not at all keen about what I was doing. I never thought that, like, it was so disorienting to see that the more I put my heart out there in an authentic way, there was like people that started to talk negatively about me that I would see every day in my fitness classes. Like I would hear about things through the grapevine, and it was just evident that the frequency of the content that I was putting out, what I was talking about, wasn't resonating with some people. And after about 6 months of doing this, my membership base started to go down. And it was like, oh my gosh, my ship is sinking. Like the thing that I took my very first big leap for was like actively gaining water right before my eyes. I was like, oh shit, what do I do? It was like such this weird thing because it's like, how could that be the case if I'm so passionate about what I'm doing now, right? And there came a time that summer where my husband Jason and I had to make a big decision. It was either continue to invest into marketing for the fitness company and build it back up, or figure out our exit plan. Because what I haven't mentioned yet is him and I's, one of our big dream is to travel from our home here in North Carolina all the way up to Alaska and down to Argentina and everywhere in between in a converted Sprinter van with our 2 dogs.
I love that so much.
I know it's still like so disorienting and unreal to say it. Like the van right now is about 70% of the way done. So I'll get there. But we had to make a decision whether we continue to rent the house that we were staying in and renew the lease and invest in the fitness company, or stick to our original end date of the lease and figure out an exit plan for the fitness company. So as you can imagine, lots of big feelings, like lots of risk assessment. It's like, what do we even do here? You know, I was just starting out on my coaching company at that point. Like, yes, I have business experience. My husband has a ton of it. Like I have my degree in brand strategy and business administration, but it was like, it didn't make logical sense. It didn't make logical sense to stop the thing that has supported us for 3.5 years and go into something that was brand new.
But what the heart wants.
But what the heart wants, it doesn't stop telling you, right? It's that internal itch, as I like to say, that keeps on scratching. And boy, did it keep on scratching. So the thing that really, the straw that broke the camel's back was one of our friends invited us to his wedding in Delhi, India in November of 2023. And well, we got the invitation in August. And I remember sitting with Jason across the table and I was like, what do we just not go? Like, we have to go. We have to go to India, right? This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. But if we go, we can't be running the company anymore. Because the way that it was set up, I couldn't be absent for 3 weeks, especially, you know, on its downward spiral, you know, as people were starting to see that I was changing my priorities and pivoting my energy, like they were starting to feel that it wouldn't be sustainable. So we decided on a summer night last year that we were, yes, going to buy our tickets and go to India. And by the way, also, yes, buy additional plane tickets to get married ourselves in Bali. And we were going to figure out our exit plan for the fitness company in order to go full-time into mindset and business coaching. And over the next couple months, we worked hard to figure out exactly how to make that happen. In the 11th hour, we were able to sell the fitness company, which was just by the grace of God. Some person came in that I was very close with and offered to buy it. And we were able to release that and fully move into what we really were passionate about, go on our travels, get married, and then come back and have a massive estate sale to sell everything that we own. It was so fun.
Isn't it so cool that when you become aligned, when you listen to that nudge inside of you, how you know, how it just kind of magically aligns. Like, I feel like it, you know, like you don't know how it's going to go. You don't know how it's all going to work out, but somehow it does. Do you know what I mean? And really like trusting in that is hard, especially at the beginning when you have like nothing to base it on. But I feel like it gets easier and easier the more times it has worked itself out.
Absolutely. So what I noticed, one of the biggest lessons that I learned from this experience of moving from fitness into mindset coaching without having that being a full-time income yet was we get to embrace uncertainty if we feel that uncertainty by going after a heart-centered desire. Because if our heart is telling us to do something that, as you said, is fully in alignment with us and we just know it, we just feel it, it's undeniable. Yeah. And we're like, okay, I hear you. I'm going to fully lean into this and see what happens. And it's all uncertain. It feels like I'm, you know, driving with my eyes closed. I don't know where I'm going, but it all feels right. What I noticed is when we made that big leap. The anxiety that I felt for years was the most quiet that it has ever been. Which is so weird because you would think, okay, you just took a massive risk into the unknown. Shouldn't anxiety be at an all-time high?
But it seems like it's shifting. At least for me, it was shifting from anxiety to excitement to like, oh, I want to get up in the morning. This is what I'm meant to do.
Yes.
My God, I am here. I can finally do it. I feel it. It's there. Yes. So
Yes.
you're no longer like dreading your ass out of bed. Like, oh my God, I have to go to the job. And no. You're like,
Exactly.
oh my God, I get to do this.
Yes. And it was like it felt like I was entering a whole new level of a video game. It was like, oh, whoop, now we're here. Now we get to explore. We gained all this experience from our past experiences. Where now it's like, okay, I get to use all those tools when I go into the next thing.
Yes.
And ever since that moment, like I have ADHD and I don't take medication. I have anxiety and, I don't take any medication for that. I just do breath work and meditation and am aligned in my life. And ever since those moments, the anxiety that I feel is 80, 90% better. And that just goes to show how important it is to make those aligned decisions, even when logically doesn't make sense. Practically, you don't have anything figured out. You're like, I don't know. What I do know is this, and I'm going to keep following that and gain answers along the way. That's the biggest thing that I like to tell the people that I work with is once you make that aligned decision, the yellow brick road will unfold in front of you now that you're looking in that direction.
Right.
But if you never look in it, you're always going to be stuck at square one. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It just keeps on nudging you. Like, dude, this way. And you're like, no, this is the good way. This is the highway. This is where I need to go. This is where everybody goes.
This is what everyone else is doing. This is what makes the most sense.
Go this way. Go this way.
The
like
nudges get stronger and stronger.
Exactly. Yeah. Like there's like a little nudge, and then there's the brake, and then at some point, what did they say? Then semi truck.
Yeah. Then it's like, hello, listen to the nudge. It's push now.
Exactly. You should have listened. I keep on telling you. I mean, seriously.
Yes. So now, like ever since then, my husband Jason and I have kind of conjoined forces, and now we own Creative Coaching Co., which is mindset and creative business coaching for heart-led entrepreneurs or creatives. And we are having absolutely the time of our life building this together, and it has allowed us to move up our timeline for living in the van. So we plan to leave in the early new year to start our way up. Well, first we're going to catch a Colorado or Utah ski season. That is my non-negotiable. And then we're going to start heading up north. So the reason why I shared this story is because there was a logical and predictable way that we could have made this happen for 2026 in the fitness company, right? That's what we were aiming for. But all these curveballs came our way that I perceived at the time were throwing us off course, right? The gossip, the haters, the not being able to renew our lease, like all these different things were curveballs that could have been seen as negatives. And honestly, I did see them as negatives in the beginning, looking back now, I didn't have the awareness that I do now. But what I've learned from this is when we fully lean into what's in alignment and we trust ourselves and we surround ourselves with people that will push us and that know when we need a push, and we're mindful of how we feel when we're making these big decisions to see what's in most alignment. Oh my gosh, the future that is in store for you, it moves up in timeline. Like everything moves up when you start to trust. I think that was just one of the most profound experiences that I've had in taking these big leaps that I have.
So beautiful. Nice. That sounds so inspiring. I love it.
Yeah.
Really, really good. But tell me more about like how do you creatively, like do your coach? Like I don't know. It sounds like really nice, but could you give me like I don't know, give me a snippet of what that would look like. Are you gonna paint pictures? Are you gonna, I don't know, like, I don't know, like how creatively are you gonna put that out there?
I love this question because I used to not think of myself as a creative person. I used to think creativity is if you can make music, if you can draw well, if you can paint, if you could write well, um, any kind of visual art or art that you can hear. I thought that was creativity. And what I noticed being in the business coaching industry, it is all hyper masculine approaches. Everyone's saying the same thing and everyone looks the same. And I fell into that trap for the first 6 months. I thought there was a certain way I had to do content, certain way I had to show up, certain way of for everything. And I lost myself. In the thing that I was building to find myself, I ended up losing myself because I thought that who I was wasn't enough. And this is what brought me to the creative parts of business coaching. Because my husband was telling me the whole time in the most loving way that I'm going about it in the wrong way. And I would tell him, Jason, you don't understand. There's a certain way you have to do things now online. You just don't understand. And now we joke about it, thankfully. But what I've found is that creativity is what is always within us when we give it space to breathe. And everyone expresses creativity differently.
Mm-hmm.
One of my clients, we came up with how she's going to be, doing some activities outside because she really loves connecting with nature. And that's how she was going to harness her creative spirit. Another client, it was, drawing in chalk with her family members to get back into that flow state. Another one of my clients, she's a writer and she absolutely loves writing in a way that feels good to her rather than in a way that she feels she needs to. So essentially the creative part is unfollowing every single force that is working against your creativity.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, and I mean, you could be creative in any way, right? Whether it's like you could be creative doing math, you could be creating cooking and baking, you could be creating, I don't know, with your plants. I mean, like whatever.
Yeah,
You can be creative
exactly.
with your dog. I mean, going different route. I mean, there's so much. Yeah, I guess it's
It's
open
all
ended.
unique to us.
I love that.
And what I do with my clients is I kind of clear that space for them to tell them, hey, I don't have a course. I don't have modules. I don't have a strict framework that I follow with everyone. I have resources that I give them when it's appropriate for them,
Right.
but I don't have them go through a step-by-step process because everyone has their own unique process and they deserve to find out what that is.
Right.
And the ego likes, I do step 1 and then I do step 3, yada, yada, yada. But what I love to say is that when my clients see and feel that they can rise to the frequency of magic to create what they want to create in the world, and they get rid of anything that stifles their creativity, and what that means is any way that you think you have to do something, throw that away because it's not helping you. It is not allowing you to be your fullest expression because your fullest expression of your gifts is stronger than anything else. And that's what allows you to rise to the frequency of magic. And when I help them create space for themselves to rise to that frequency of magic, all these new ideas, these new ways, this new way of looking at life, and this new energy comes in. And creating from that place, whether you're a business owner, a coach, a creator, a writer, whomever, everything becomes so much juicier.
Yes. Get them inspired, get them light up.
Yeah,
Just like you light
blasted
up
wide
when you
open.
talk about it. It's so beautiful. I love it.
Thank you.
And it makes sense. I really feel you in this. I really.
It does, right? There's so many people trying to tell you, well, this is the way to do something, or this is the way to do this, or no, don't do it this way. But
Yeah,
it's like,
that's the way society works, right? Everybody has to be a certain way. Like, it makes it so much easier. This is black, this is white, like you're this way, you're either good in math or you don't, like everybody is put in boxes and stuff. And then you're like, yeah, I was never good at math, or I'm not a good baker, I'm not a blah, blah, blah. And you just kind of get stuck there,
absolutely.
And a
It's
lot of
so
times,
easy.
yeah, it takes you to be like, hey, I don't want to be in this box. I want to, maybe I'll be, and I want to be something different. I want to be, I don't know, a pink flower instead of a purple one, whatever, and just kind of taking that on and be like, I think we made the comparison in another episode, like, yeah, with the flower at the Beauty and the Beast, just kind of being under wraps, and somebody put that glass on top of you, and like you have to be like, no way, I don't want to be under that glass. I want to be, I want to grow. I want to be big. I want to throw my magic around. I want to,
Yes,
flourish.
bloom,
Glass.
bloom and flourish. Yes. And it's very hard to like think about, okay, this is my box of comfort that has been built for me and that I've built for myself and that I've allowed to be here. What happens when I step out? What does that look like? And that's why I love to help people find their gray area.
Right.
There was this one client that I was working with where she was nervous to work with me in the beginning because she's like, Brenna, I'm not ready to quit my job, da, da, da. And I'm like, hey, you don't have to
Right.
do anything that you don't want to do. There is no one way to do anything, right? And what she wanted was just exploring more of who she was. She didn't have any interest in building a business. She wanted to explore who she was and figure out what she wanted to do next and enjoy her life more.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did is we worked together to remove emotional investment from her job. Still doing good work. There's a difference between doing good work and being emotionally invested in doing extra work, right? So we removed the latter, and that created so much more space for her to explore the things that she was being led to. And we found her gray area where now she's able to work that job, and she's also able to have all these other activities and all these other new connections with people that fill her soul back up, because we shouldn't be relying on one thing to fill our soul.
Yeah, exactly. And it doesn't need to be a work. I mean, it can be for so many people, it is, but it doesn't have to be, right? Like if you're good with your job, but you also have, other things that you would like to explore. Yeah, especially in our society, especially here. I feel like there's a lot riding on this job and a lot of, especially with COVID now, I feel like work-life balance even went more down the drain because everybody expects their email and everything, and in 2 seconds, and people are working later. I mean, I see it with my husband and other people too. Like, yeah, there's no more 9 to 5. I feel like it has really shifted even more so, and people are more called into action of like being, setting those boundaries and be like, yeah, okay, I don't need to be here 24/7. That's not what you pay me for, right? But most people, yeah, they're not aware of those, like how much the boundaries have shifted, and with all the fear and I'm losing my job and what, like it has been pushed so far that people will need to wake up and kind of push that back out and be like, okay, like I like my job, but like I want to have some life too.
Absolutely. It's recognizing the boundary and becoming aware of it. And then also recognizing that it's just a pattern. If you're in a pattern of working a 7 to 9 instead of a 9 to 5, and then now you're coming up with all these reasons as to, why you can't change it or why you need to, that's simply just reinforcing this pattern that is now your new default. And that's why it feels hard to break. And the reason why that pattern was built was from what? Repetition, right? So inserting a new thing to create repetition will help to break that pattern. And one thing that I do with my clients and that we all need to do is like at some points in time in our life is have a zoomed out perspective. Like, okay, what is actually the truth in this situation? And what are the stories that I'm telling myself? And once we have a bird's eye view of those two things, it's like, now my next course of action is clear. The things that I thought were true actually have no legs to stand on. And now you have all your power that's brought back to you to make an aligned decision, to enforce new boundaries, little by little, right? Finding your gray area. It doesn't have to be all at once. And then rewiring those patterns that have shifted your life to a place where it's not what you want it to be into something that feels more aligned for you.
Right. Yes. Yes. And I mean, so many times, yeah, like I thought I was doing, I was doing my thing, I'm going on my way. And then, it's like, it was like really busy and I'm just kind of keep going, push through, only then to be like, what was I pushing so hard for?
Like, for
is this really what I want?
what?
Like, oh my gosh. And now I'm here and I jumped through all these hoops to get here. And I don't know, I still don't feel what I was hoping to feel, right? And like so many times, you're like going in the focus when, like you said, you should kind of remove yourself and like really have a bit more of a step back and have a look at the big picture. We're getting, especially when it's so stressful and like things just kind of keep going and coming at you, like that's the time where you're actually like, oh, okay, take a step back. Is this really what all, should be here? Like, should I really be feeling like this, And I'm not saying there will always be challenges, right? Like we all have those and there's always busy times, but if it becomes like a permanent state, we probably want to have a look and reassess if, all those things need to be there permanently.
Absolutely.
Or
What are your favorite tools for mindfulness in moments like that where you feel like, there's all this frantic energy and you're so jumbled up in your patterns and your stories, you don't even know how to untangle it? What do you love to do for mindfulness when it comes to moments like those?
Good question. No, but I have obviously different tools because I found not all the tools work at the same time. So, right. But most of the time, yes, remove yourself. That's the first thing. Like I said, you have to, step out. And whether that's like 5 minutes to kind of, and then just kind of, okay, I'm calm again, or like really like taking a moment. Like I like to journal. I like to go for walks, whatever helps, whatever availability I have. Sometimes I really can't go for a walk. I have to watch my daughter or something. So I just kind of, sit in the corner and I'm like starting to doodle and starting to write, or just kind of, sometimes it's listening to a song, just let that creativity come back and just kind of let the stuck up energy kind of go. And I mean, it's so many different ways. Yeah. Or like yoga or meditation, breath work, definitely breath work, just kind of like coming back to my center, grounding myself. I like to take walks barefoot sometimes because I feel like that really connects me very fast and quicker than just, mindlessly walking. I mean, yeah, whatever I can find, visualization, tapping. I try really to have a lot of different tools because it's the different situations call for different tools.
So true. So true. One of my favorite methods for mindfulness lately that you remind me of is it's really nice, the weather here in North Carolina right now. And I'll go on my afternoon walk where the sun is shining and I'll put my arms out to my side and like let my chest go up and just look up at the sky and feel the sun on my face and the breeze. And I'm like, this right here, this is living. This moment is me embodying what it feels like to be alive. And that mindfulness of that moment grounds me in, as I'm sure it does for you too in all of your practices, where it's like, okay, everything else can be quiet now because I have this moment of centered peace.
Yeah.
And everything else just quiets down.
Yes. Yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that moment of gratitude, just being there in this moment. Like I have everything I need, I have a bed to wake up in, I have the sunshine, I don't know, close to the beach, I have my family, I have my dog. I mean, everything is there. I have running water, I have food, I can go to the fridge at any time, like things like that. Really noticing, focus in on those, all the good things that you have, all the things, that so many people out there don't. So gratitude. Gratitude. And yeah, really slowing down. Like I used to, like get very flustered and I have to do all these things and all these things and keep going in circles and make it go faster. I didn't get enough done kind of thing. And then these days I'm just like, nope, it's too fast. Slow down. What can I remove?
Not worth it.
What do I need to let go of? Like always holding on to the control, making plans and trying to stick with them. And I'm like, nope, it's not working. What's the most important thing? Is anything really critical to need to get done today, right now? Yes or no? And then just kind of go with that. Like sometimes it's also good to just kind of like, you know what? Today I'm just not feeling it. I'm just going to take a step back. I'm going to, go to the beach. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm just going to go and sit down and do something else and just kind of recenter and ground myself. And tomorrow I'm going to pick it back up.
Yeah, recenter and give yourself that time and allow yourself to rest without feeling guilty, right? That was something that was so big for me for so long. It's like, yeah, I would make time to nap, but I would feel so guilty the entire time that I was resting. So it was never really rest. It was just being horizontal and guilty.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was one of the first things I actually found in the first class. I did like a mindfulness class, and the lady, she gave us a meditation, and she was like saying, I am not what I produce. And like, I mean, like there was like a whole bunch of like things, like I am I give myself permission. I give myself permission to be happy and sad and blah, 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 blah. And I just found myself listening to that thing over and over. It's like a 10-minute thing. And I don't know, that first month was, I listened to that like 3 times on repeat. I just felt like I need to hammer it in, like, because I was like so gracious with all, my daughter and my husband, and oh yeah, it's okay to feel sad and down and blah. But for myself, oh no. Like I was always so hard on myself. And the same thing, like, yeah, like I need to do all these things, and and so like that sentence, like, I am not what I produce, like I am okay taking a break, like it's okay to just be. And even if someone asks, like, what have you done? And if it was nothing, well, that's okay too. I mean, like, you took some time, like this self-care thing, man. I
It's
really
real.
had to learn that for myself. And that
Same.
was really at the right time. Like, I didn't even know that was the piece that was missing. Like, really, like I knew, like I was struggling, and I was just like, I can't go on like this. And I just kind of randomly signed up for the class, and I was struggling the whole way through, because, like, I had my daughter come in and blah, 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 blah. But like, I did it, and I was like, oh my God, like, just that little moment of like, I don't know, 10 minutes by myself, and just, like hearing those words, like, it's like everything to me. And I just knew I had to build on it. See, that was that thing too for me, like that little blossom where I was like, ooh, I see it. I am not there yet. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, but I know I have to follow this little tiny plant inside, this little seed, this little light. I have to protect it. I have to
Yes,
make
and
it grow.
keep watering it.
Yes, definitely. It's been a journey.
It always
It's
is.
helpful.
It always is. And it's hard, especially when we are creating something or we're building a business. It's really easy to forget that we also need to be pouring back into ourselves, and that just because we take a day of rest doesn't mean that we're being unproductive. Sometimes rest is the most productive thing that we can do. Coming back to that center is the most productive thing that we can do, because it clears out the clouds
Yeah.
that are starting to cloud our vision, that are starting to cause the brain fog when we're pushing too hard. And that rest can just be the perfect reset that we all need.
Yeah. It recharges your batteries. Like, how many times have you been sitting there? Oh my God, I've been staring at a computer, but I'm not really doing anything.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, please step away. Have whatever, have a drink, whatever. And then you come back, and then all of a sudden, magic
Yep.
happens. It's exactly that rest, that moment, whatever it needed. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's a day, whatever it is. Yeah, really listen to that inner voice too. Recharge those batteries. Find that grounding, and it's gonna flow so much better. Just staring at that blank screen is not helping.
Exactly. No matter how frustrated you get, right?
Yes.
Sometimes you got to take that step away.
Yeah, because just sitting in front of the computer screen and nothing is happening doesn't mean you were productive either, right? And then there's other times when you feel fully charged and you're like, oh my gosh, I got so much done in these 2 hours. It was like amazing.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah, I know. It's definitely like emotional waves that we go through, right?
Yeah, but going with that, like really, finding those and realizing, okay, I'm on a downward spiral. That's okay, and when I come back up, I'm just gonna use that wind, and I'm gonna push then and get so much done, and then I'm gonna rest again. Just really going with that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. I've had a lot of experiences with that too.
Yes, I can imagine. Oh my goodness. So good, so good. So what are some strategies that help you in keeping things, aligned and grounded, or also like what helps you, like just kind of help push the troubles away and like kind of go the hard way too, right? Like it seems like, like you're not following the directions of everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, how do you choose? How do you stay inspired and motivated for yourself?
Okay. This was a really challenging lesson for me to learn, but one of the things that keeps me on that track the most is reminding myself that none of this is about me. We are naturally self-centered creatures, right? That's just who we are. We want to think about what's the benefit for me, what's in it for me, all these things. But that's what I did when I was building my fitness company. And I had everything that I thought I wanted, but I was feeling ungrateful and unfulfilled all the time. And I didn't know why. Like some amazing things would happen. And I would be thinking to myself, Brenna, you should be feeling so much gratitude right now. But I wouldn't. And it was very disorienting. And I vowed to never feel like that again with my new mindset and business coaching company. And so one of my strategies is definitely reminding myself when I get into that spiral of, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't feel like working on this today. I don't know what to say. It's like, okay, enough about me. What am I doing for other people? How am I adding value to the world today? What is on the surface that's ready to be released to give to other people? And whenever I get myself out of the me, I place and into that other place, that's when the flow starts to come back in. However, when the flow isn't coming in, that's when I do what I call a 20-minute push. And this is something that I actually just recorded a podcast episode about myself. But essentially, when we are in that place where we're going to sit down, we're going to do the things, but it's not coming up for us naturally, I believe that this is due to nothing other than our poor relationship with effort. And I know that I used to blame this on things being out of alignment for a while. I would be like, oh, well, if I feel resistance, it must not be aligned. And then I realized, no, Brenna, you are just used to spending a lot of time on your phone and having quick dopamine hits and instant gratification, and you have a poor relationship with effort. And once I had this realization, I was like, oh man, okay. So that means that it's not that things are unaligned. It's just that I have not been able to yet get myself to the place where I'm able to get momentum. Because motivation is cheap. Momentum is what really keeps us going, right? So my 20-minute push method is if you are going to sit down and you want to create something or you want to work on something, but you feel that initial like blankness, the brain fog, blank screen, whatever it may be, non-negotiably give yourself 20 minutes to only focus on that thing. And I like to put on some music first, do a little dance party, shake it up and say, okay, I am going to work on this for 20 minutes. And for everyone, it's different, right? For me, I can usually get to a flow state now at this point within 20 minutes of focusing on one thing. Sometimes it takes longer than that, but set a timer for 20 minutes. And I promise that you will feel so much better and more accomplished and like you're able to hit a stride within those 20 minutes than you have when you first sit down. Because I don't know about you, but it's very, very rare that I sit down and I instantly feel inspired and I instantly know what I'm going to say and how I'm going to say it. And I feel great and not frustrated. No. I always feel like I am either not capable of doing what I'm about to do, or I feel frustrated, or I feel like it's hard, right? These are all the things that come up. You go. And then once I give myself that 20 minutes, I'm like, yes, I remember who I am again. And this is one of the things that has been so helpful in combination with reminding myself that I am not the center of the universe. It is about what I'm doing. It is about also giving myself a lot of time to do the things that I enjoy.
Right.
I credit this method to my best friend, Carrie, and her and I, she is a life coach and a mindset coach, and she brands herself as the fun coach because she uses fun as a strategy to get to where you want to go. And I used to think that I had to hustle in everything that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And when I realized that, oh, actually, I can get the same results by prioritizing fun and prioritizing connection with people because that's what brings me new ideas, I'm going to start doing that. And ever since I started doing that about 8 months ago, that has kept me in a much healthier place where I no longer feel deep highs and lows. I feel more of a wave.
Mm-hmm.
So prioritizing things in my life that I enjoy and hobbies and creating a fun environment for myself to work in, that's a big one. While also prioritizing like things not work related, like having date nights with my husband where we don't talk about anything business related. And then giving myself that 20-minute push to get started and trusting that, like building that trust with myself that good things happen within those 20 minutes and that's what I can rely on. That's really what helps keep me going on like a tangible standpoint.
Very good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Align yourself with the bigger purpose. Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely has helped me too. Yes. Like there's somebody out there that needs me to show up today.
Yes, we have to, right? When we get that calling, it's our responsibility to explore it and to follow it. And to also, like, another big thing that really helps me is this mindset that I have of, I'll ask myself the question, how do I want to swing the bat today? And what I mean by that is every little thing that we do adds up, but it in itself is not important. It's cumulatively part of something so much bigger, but swinging the bat and practicing to getting your reps in a low risk way is the best way that you can build that consistency. And that consistency builds momentum, and that builds feelings of you being capable and confident and knowing that you're good at what you do. Right. So for me, this was, I'm just going to post content, even though I don't really know how to like design this, how to write it, until I get good at it. I'm going to record podcast episodes until I figure out what my groove is. You know, so choose one thing or two things that you want to get better at and decide that the only thing that's important is the process, not the outcome. Man, like that might be my number one tip for staying on this path, is completely falling in love with the process rather than having an outcome-oriented mindset. Because then if you're loving what you're doing, that's going to fuel you the whole time.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, definitely. I definitely can 100 agree. Because that's what's been pushing me too. I've been, yes, especially the podcast. I've been having so much fun. I didn't even know that this was the thing that was missing in my life. Because I'm more, like introverted and more like, shy by
You
nature.
are introverted and shy. I would
Oh,
never
yes,
have
I'm not
guessed.
really easy to connect, but then here, I don't know. It's like, oh, ding, here I am. And I just love it. I just love talking and making these new connections. Well, I guess it's also changing a bit, maybe since I am more aligned with myself, I am more confident and I am more myself. I feel like maybe I always had to kind of hide. I had all these shells and all these different bases on, I guess, right? You never knew what you're gonna get. I always had to ward it off from different people. I feel like that's how I grew up. And these days I'm just kind of like, take it or leave it.
Yeah. Letting who you truly are shine and letting people see that. And it's beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It definitely, it makes me get up in the morning.
I love that. I love that.
And I love helping people and aligning to my purpose too. And even if I just have, one person listen to the podcast or nobody, but it's good. It's good for me too. Like you said, I get the reps in, but I also have so much good feedback already. People are like, oh my gosh, like this is so good. And I find myself, and I just know that, there've been some dark moments in my life where I just didn't have the conversations that I should have had, right? Like I went through some crap by myself, but it was those other things that I did. I listened to the podcast or I saw that movie and things like that where I got inspired and I just kind of found a strategy or got the motivation like to keep going. Like there must be something, on the other side. And I just feel like that's what I'm trying to offer, like offer that help, that light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely.
Guiding light.
Absolutely. Helping people reconnect to that when they're struggling to find it for themselves. Because that's so real. Like when we feel like lost or we feel like we don't really know what's next, if we have other people that have been there that are sharing their stories, it's like, oh, well, if they can do it and they're telling me that they know where I am right now, then I can do it too.
Yeah. And really just trusting, like really, you don't have to know it. You don't have, like, life is really all about figuring shit out. It's really, nobody wakes up and it's like, or nobody is born and like, I got it. I know where I'm going to go. So it's really just trusting, just follow those little impulses and just kind of go with your gut and make it fun, make it a fun one. I mean, that's also one of my biggest ones. Like I want to have fun. Like, yes, I'm going to be responsible and I'm going to do these things, but I'm also want to have a lot of fun.
You're going to have a good time while doing it.
Yes, exactly. Like I used to be more of the hustle kind of person too. I have to grind and I have to do and I have to work hard, and I'm like, no, I can hustle and do all these things while having a good time. So
100%.
yes. Yes. Go with the flow, everybody.
Amazing.
Find
Yes,
what's
go with the flow.
yes, find what you're passionate about and go for it. Figure it out. Thank you.
Love it. Yeah,
Yes, so
absolutely.
nice. I
Thank
love it.
you.
It's been so much good power and good energy in here. I love it.
Yes, this was so fun, Sandy. You have such amazing energy
Oh,
on camera and with people, and you've just been glowing the whole time. I can tell that this is such in your zone of genius to be podcasting.
it is. Like I said, it's before this, I never would have picked this up. It's actually my coach who threw this at me. I should try it. And it was like, I don't know. Fine. If you say so, I'll try it out.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, I love this so much. I've been doing
Yes.
it.
Yes.
And if people want to connect with you, like what would be a good place? I'm going to try and put it in the show notes, but if you want to.
Yes.
Oh,
If people would like to connect with me, they can do that in two ways now. They can follow me on Instagram at I am Brenna Dragos or send me an email at brennacoachingco@gmail.com.
very good. Yes. I'm going to put that in the show notes as well. So, but
Great.
ooh, it's been so good. Thank you so much, Brenna. It was a pleasure to have you as my guest today.
Thank you. It's been such an honor to be your guest, Sandy. I appreciate you taking time out of your day and the interest in interviewing me.